just me and my guitar.
Hey, what's happening guys? Mark back here on Mark's Aquatics. Today, on this little episode, I was going to chuck this old heater away. And I thought, what can I make out of that? Now I thought, well, it's got a nice little glass sleeve on it. So I think today, on this little episode, we're going to make a little egg tumbler. Just in case you get a shrimp that sheds and keeps the eggs, it sheds the eggs off with it. Or, the worst case scenario is one of your little shrimps dies and you've got to literally physically pick the eggs off with, or scrape them off with tweezers and or a needle or something along those lines. I will do a video on that later on, but my little drill here, so we're going to try and cut and score around it with that because I can't find my glass cutter anywhere. So we're going to try that instead and try something different and see if we can make a little egg tumbler and keep our little shrimps going. We're going to strip this thing down first. We pull the lid off like that. Now these are suction cupped on and they come with a rubber bung in there, and you just give them a pull like that and they fly apart, and then you're left with this nice glass tube and heating element and all that stuff. Now this was busted, this was gone, so that can go in the bin, but we can keep our little glass tube. That's what we want. So that lot can go in the bin out of the way. And now what I've got to do is give that, you get that cotton wool in the top there, sometimes if you give it a knock it'll come down, but not today. But it's not bad actually. You can see the thickness of it there. It's good enough size to put your finger in, but with an egg tumbler you don't want anything massive. You want to keep a little concentration of that swirl going around in there, so you keep those eggs aerated nicely. So now what we've got to do is see if I can cut a little tiny piece off of this with my little circular diamond wheel, which I got all the way from Japan for £1, for £1. That wasn't bad. It came with about 10 wheels, spins very high RPM, diamond coated, and with a bit of luck I should be able to run it around and we should be able to cut a piece off. And then I'd like to show you how to do this rather than hyperlapse this, because at least you can see what I'm doing. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a screw into this wood here. When I can find my drill, there it is. And we'll put a couple of screws into this piece of wood here. Not with a drill in there, you won't, Mark. That's got to be changed. Okay, whack that in there first. And we want our little tube, and then we want to put our nail there. Just put it on the curve at the bottom, just so it cups it in there. I'll show you in a minute. Just so I can hold it still. I don't know if you can see that there, but just so it backs off in there and I can keep that nice and still now and hold it in place and give it a spin slowly like that. Okay, right, here we go. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm going to put that against there and hold it still and against there. So I'll pressure that way and then I can just turn it, and then I can hold this still on against the wood. Right, there you go. That cut through there, absolutely amazing. Look at that. And all we got, I left a little tiny bit so it can stay together, and we can put it around there and just go like that. See, pop it apart. And now we've got a nice little bit of clear tube. And don't forget now, we've got to put some sandpaper and take those nice rough edges off of there, so we can clear our little bit of wood out the way. Get rid of that. Now I could do with a little bit of paper towel. I've got some around here somewhere. Right, where's my sandpaper gone now? Here it is. Get the old aluminium oxide paper out. I won't put you through this, but this makes a noise that, oh, it drives me absolutely up the wall, but it's got to be done. I'll pause it and get it back to you in a minute, because it'll have everyone's teeth grinding otherwise. It's horrible. Alright guys, there you go. All nice and clean. Edges are all nice and deburred now, so they're not going to cut you at any shape or form. Nice and smooth both ends, and nice and clear now. Right, now we've got that little bit of a structure there. That's our main cylinder for it. What we've got to do now, basically we've got to drill a hole now in here, in the side. Got to drill a hole there, and we've got to put a pipe coming out there and then going up, okay, for our airline to fix to, like that. Okay guys, right, now we've cut it, we've got a nice little cylinder now for our little lift tube. Probably see it better off if I put this little T-tail down on there. It's a bit darker, so it'll show it up better. There you go. Right, what we've got to do now is we've got to drill a hole through the glass this way. And what I normally use is my little drill bits. You can get these off eBay for about £2. I think that's with postage and packing, I'm not sure now, but they do blunt quite quick, but for that sort of money you only want them, you know, there's so many in there, you can use them for different jobs. They're always going to come in handy for something. Quite a few of these are actually quite blunt now, so I'm going to have to find a tidy one so we can drill a nice little hole through this. Now then, what I normally do when I'm drilling through glass, I'll put it in water and I'll just submerge it under the water like that, okay, and then I'll show you in a minute. I'll get the and that's one of the really handy things is about these little whips that you can use. This isn't a brilliant one, but with these, obviously the electric's miles away from the water, so you've got no chance of getting an electric shock there and hurting yourself. So we've got to take this one out of here now. I'll just stop, you know, change over the little diamonds drill circular saw one there that we cut it in half with, and we'll put in a different style, and I'll show you in a minute. Right guys, what I've done is now I've put in a little diamond bit just like that. You see, it's like a little ball. Now you can put that in sideways, you can hold it on it sideways. Because it's a ball, you can just hold it sideways like that, and it, oh sorry, I was out of shot there. You want to put the air a little bit higher, the airline a bit higher, sorry, a bit lower. You want to put the hole down about here, so you've got more of a lift when the air goes up through it, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this into the water. I'm going to go in at that kind of an angle. Sorry, it's going to be quite difficult to show you and do this at the same time, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it on there like that, and it's going to slowly keep the glass cool with the water, and then it'll cut better and we'll get a neater little hole, and we're not going to get any fractures then going anywhere around there. Now I'm doing this out of glass, guys, but don't forget you can make this out of plastic. You can just heat up a drill bit or anything, a nail, and you can melt a little hole through there, and you can make these exactly the same way but just using plastic. But I like doing things the hard way because I'm silly, and so, well, it was there, so I thought I'd use it. I don't like chucking stuff away when I can make something out of it. And but yeah, but don't forget, guys, you can make these out of plastic. You can use all plastic, you don't have to use glass. I'm just showing you that you can, that's all. Right, I'm going to put the drill on now. It's not too loud, but instead of putting it on hyperlapse, because I do a lot of work on hyperlapse, and I was just wondering, you know, a lot of you guys out there might be thinking, oh, I wouldn't have minded seeing how he did that. I've got one of these brains that works at 1,000 miles an hour. While I'm building this, I'm already thinking of, and I'm thinking of about the next 6 projects at the same time as I'm doing this. That's what my brain's like. It's flat out constantly. I drive the wife nuts. But the yeah, what I was saying, if you want me to slow down and not do as much hyperlapse, you know, I don't mind doing that for you. If you like the hyperlapse with the music on, the video side of things, I don't mind doing that. You seem to be enjoying those. But if you want to see me do a lot more of the work, obviously the videos are going to be a bit longer. You can always skip forwards if you get bored, I suppose. But if you want me to show you more, I don't mind doing that at all. Because we're all in this for knowledge and learning stuff. That's what this channel's all about, is learning, DIYing, and helping you guys out if I can. And all that kind of stuff. Right, so I'm going to fire up this drill now. Like I said, we're going to put this into the water, and then we're going to just put it on there, and then we're going to really slowly just try and drill a little hole through there, okay? Right, there you go, guys. Let's see if it'll focus. Oh, pardon me. There you go, we've got our little hole now through there. Nice and neat. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in another one of these little burrs of a different shape, because we've got to open that up now. Remember I told you about these guys, these crazy straws? These thermoplastic straws. I've used these on so many of my builds. I think they're fantastic. They really are. And I'll go and show you how we use these in a minute, okay? Because this is going to be our pipe. This is going to be our air to go in the side. So we're going to have to open up this hole now to the same diameter as that, or just right on the money there, just so it just slides in, and we can put a little bead of super glue around it just to lock it in place. All right, so I'm just going to change this bit over to another one of these, probably one like that one there, which isn't got anything on the end but it's coated on the outside, so then we can do a circular motion inside that hole and we can make that bigger as we go along. Okay, so I'll get back to you when I've changed that one out. Right, that's the one I've changed it to now. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to pop that then into that hole there, because we're already through. Focus, dude, that's better. And then we're just going to do circular motion like that in the water again, and that is just going to go really slowly though, guys, okay, because you might crack it. You don't want to crack the glass after all that work, so you've got to go really slowly, and the water will keep that lubricated there nicely, and it will keep it cool and stop that from cracking. All right, so I'll turn on the noisy one again. A little bit more, yeah. That's him. Right, so now we've got our little hole through there. We can wiggle that through, and we want that to go about halfway in there, you see, and then we can super glue that in place. Looks quite funky with a bit of green straw in there. I've got some green sponge that we're going to put in there as well with it in a moment when we've got this locked up in place. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get some boiling water. Keep that in the water so it stays nice and cool, and then it's not going to you've got less chance of it cracking there now. Yeah, it's a nice clean hole through there. Happy with that. What happens with this stuff is as soon as you apply the heat to it, it goes back to how it was originally formed, and you can just stretch it. Sorry, you can just stretch it and it'll just unroll itself, unravel itself. It goes nice and soft, and it literally, it's like a spring, and it will go back to its original shape. So if you can keep it in there long enough, it'll go back perfectly round. Now I normally do this in a saucepan, but I'm just so I can keep the water boiling, because it's going to lose its temperature. It's critical that it's boiling water that you put these in. Alright, now if that was in boiling water now, as you can see, you straightened it right out. But when it gets too cold, you can hold it over steam, it'll do the same thing. But we're only going to need a short length for this now, so what I'll do is I'll leave that in there, let that soften up, and then what we'll do is we'll just give it a very slow bend. Keep the bend nice and slow, go over just over 90 degrees, and then when it slowly sets, you'll have your little 90 degree bend there then, see? And then it's just a matter of turning that into that little circle again like that, and then you just snap it off. See, when it goes so brittle when it's done. But that was just one for a quick demo there. And now we can put that into where we need it to go. I'm going to make another one in a minute, guys, but I'm just showing you now how to do it, so I'm going to get a neater turn around there. Okay, so when I come back I'd have made another one. But that's how easy these things are to mould. And like I say, you can make these squeezy bottle things I've made, the drip acclimators, all out of these things. They're fantastic little guys, and you get all different colours as well. And believe it or not, they actually glow under UV light. So if you've got a marine system with a actinic light in, a blue light, these actually fluoresce at night and they look quite funky as well. So you can make all sorts of stuff with these. Right, I'll get back to you in a second when I've made the proper one. Okay, there we go. Now I've cut the pipe off inside on a little angle, just so the air coming through will just come out centrally and rise centrally through there, creating a nice bit of drag for our little chamber there. Okay, I've just run the super glue, just put a little blob there, and then just carefully just wobbled it around, and it will just suck itself in and seal that hole perfectly. It will, and it will hang on there forever. So that's what we're like inside. Right, now what we've got to do, now we've got that bit done, we can put that bit up there, put the super glue away. Now we're going to need a couple of little sponges to go in. Where is my sponge? Right, I've got lots of offcuts from different projects here. Here's a nice little bit of green stuff, which will match the pipe on there. It'll look quite dandy, I think. And we'll cut some little plugs out that are going to fit in there. Now what I've got around here somewhere is I'll grab that for a size comparison. Right, we got that little guy there. Alright, this is the old glass cutting bit. And we got our sponge, and if you've seen my other videos before, cutting plugs, perfect fit. Now that is the same diameter as that, which is absolutely spot on. You can cut these by hand, you've only got to just put that on there, and if you wiggled that backwards and forwards before you actually sanded it off, it'll have a rough sharp edge on there, and you just cut a new plug out like that. But that's one way of doing it if you haven't got one of these. But if you've got one of these, just put that on there like that. We're going to need one plug, and then we'll cut that in half again. So we'll put that on there. We don't press, let the cutter, just let it cut through. As it drops, just drop it very, very slowly, because if you go in like that and press, you're going to get a little plug, but it's going to be all misshapen and it's not going to look as good. So don't want to wreck my tea towel. And there you go. If you look in the end of there now, we've got a perfect little plug. And now if we get my little, one of my little bits there and pop that out, there you go. You've got a perfect little round plug which fits spot on inside there like that. Okay, but now what we've got to do is get our knife, and we want to cut a very fine plug off of there. Just like that. Tiny little plug. And then what we've got to do is just pop that one in there like that. And using one of my other bits of acrylic rod, push that up against there like that. Okay, so that's down there, you can see that fine sponge there. And then with the bottom one, you just slide him in there like that. And then you've got this little tiny tumbling chamber in the middle there, you see. And that is where your little shrimp eggs are going to go, in there. So, when you want to put the shrimp eggs in, sponge out, you could have your eggs in the water there, and then you could slowly fan them in with this in the water, and then put that in afterwards, okay? And then what we've got to do is we've got to put our airline then. We've got a piece somewhere. A piece of airline. Obviously the airline then goes onto that straw perfectly on there, like that. And now what we've got to do is get ourselves a little sucker, which I've got there, nice little sucker there. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my little tool down there, this little wheel thing with that diamond cutter on, and I'm just going to concave that slightly like that. I'll get back to you in a sec, alright, when that's done. Right, we've done that. Just made a little concave in there like that, so it's going to sit better on the glass. But now we're going to drop in some of the old Superpowers glue. Little blob like that. Now we want it to go in the tank. You want to work out which way you want to stick it in the tank. Obviously, because you want to see these little guys. So you want to stick it against the side of the wall like that. So we just want to stick it. One of them's going to do on here, I think, because it's only small. Now we can pop that on there like that and give that a squeeze on there, and before you know it, we're solidly stuck on there like that. And that's all there is to it. That is it. There is your little egg tumbler. Now you can make the sponge at the bottom as big or small as you like. I'll probably trim this one down a bit to give it a little bit more opening. Just take a little bit more off of there, I think. Half that. Right guys, there you go. We've got the little air pump on there now with the airline. Everything's in its place. Your baby eggs go in there. Your little baby shrimps go in there. Stick that to the side of your tank. I think what I could do is give you a little demo in something here. I'll rig it up and then you can see it working, alright? Right guys, there you go, it's all done. In the tank, we plumbed it in now. We got the little pump here, little air pump, little tiny one. But it's important guys that you get one of these, okay? Little regulator. These are hydroponic ones. You get them from your from B&Q if you're in the UK, or any of the big stores that are similar in anywhere else in the world. You'll pick these little things up. They're for growing plants. Really nice, easy little valves. You can move around on them, and they're really easy to use. And they've got good seals on them, and they're really good for regulating the airflow. So we've got him in there now. So we'll just turn it on. I haven't got anything in there to tumble, any eggs or anything, but you just turn it on very, very slowly. And there you go. And that is about all you want. It's just a nice little bubble going up like that, and that will draw that water in. I'll just go down a bit for you. Now then, what happens is here, I'll get my little pointing stick. you've got all your oxygen and everything in the water here. As those bubbles rise up like that, it's drawing all that water in through that sponge there into that chamber where your little eggs are, and then it will slowly tumble them around. You just literally want them simmering away in there. You just want them bubbling away, so they're just rolling away in there on the bottom. You don't want them stuck to the top here, or you just back the air off until they sink. And then you just want them literally just bubbling around, just lifting off the ground, off the sponge, and then rolling back down again like that, in that motion, okay? That's all you want. And you just keep them in there like that. Now, these are fantastic for keeping shrimp eggs going until they hatch. If you're unfortunate enough to lose one, or one sheds and the eggs come off with the shed, that happens sometimes as well. These will sort that out. You've got to be super careful getting the eggs off of the shrimp. If I do get a shrimp that dies and it's got eggs, I'll do that video. That's all it is. And then you, like I say, all that fresh oxygenated water is going through there then, which is mimicking that action that you see the shrimps doing under their little abdomens, and they keep that oxygen going through those eggs. That's just to stop any mould or any fungus or anything like that growing on those eggs, any bacterial infections or anything happening and causing problems and the eggs not hatching. So that's basically just replicating that. Brilliant for cichlids as well, because they lay the eggs and then put them in the mouth. They hatch them in the mouth. And if you lose a cichlid and there's eggs in the mouth, you can do this the same way. Or a lot of people will actually strip the eggs from the mouth so they can have more eggs. And they've got a series of these tumblers going that they put the eggs in, and they keep the eggs and they hatch them in these. Bit bigger versions than this, but because our shrimp eggs are actually minute, you'd fit hundreds in there and you could have them all going around. You really could. They're so small, as you know. But it's a handy little device. And very easy to make. Like I said before, guys, you don't have to make one out of glass. It's just me. I had that and I like making stuff. So I just put this one together just to show you, with the right little couple of tools, how easy they are to make. And they are really effective, and they work really well. Little oxygenator there is working well too. Oh well, guys, I hope you like that little video. Well, there you go, guys. It's all hanging up now. All the little kit together, all ready to go in case of an emergency. We can get our little baby shrimps in there and get them bubbling away too. Now the postman's just been, and I've got some more post, and I haven't got a clue where it's from. Let me have a quick look. It's from where I'm from Alderney in the Channel Islands. So somebody knows me and knows my channel and knows my mother who lives there to get my address. Well, I've just opened it up, guys. We've got a little note in there. Dear Mark, really enjoy your videos and hope this may come in handy for some of your inventions. Always interesting and so many different topics. Keep them coming. From Dawn. Ah, now I know a Dawn in Alderney. I'll have to put some feelers out and see what it is. See if it was her that sent this. Oh wow, that's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant, guys. Look at that. It's a little chopping board with Alderney. That's the size of the island that I'm from. That's where we were fishing and where we went on the rock pools, on the beaches. That's the Longy Beach. That's the fort where we caught the mackerel. And that's that bay that we were looking for all those big shrimps and the different species of fish and the crabs. That was in that bay there. And that's the gannets colony over this side of the island that we had a look at as well. That is really nice. Thanks very much, Dawn. That is very nice. That's going to take pride and place in here, and I've got a place for it somewhere. Where can I put it for the time being? I think I'll put it in there for the time being. Look at that. Fits in there well. Yes, guys, go and make yourself one of these. A little lifesaver, a little shrimp lifesaver kit. You can pick these little pumps up off of eBay or off classified sites and places like that for next to nothing these days. And all you want is a bit of plastic now, or if you want a bit of a fancier one made out of glass like this one, go ahead and make one of those. But it's nice to have it hanging up already, just in case you have a problem with a shrimp and you've got a good head start of bringing them little shrimplets up. Okay, guys, as always, you're all stars. Look after yourselves, Be safe, and I'll see you on the next edition of Mox Aquatics. Okay, bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.